Hey guys, welcome to Crypto and Beyond. I'm your host CB, and today we will talk to Jordan from Polydoge. But before we begin, just a quick disclaimer. Everything we discuss in this channel is for educational purposes only. We do not provide any financial services or financial advice. Well, with that out of the way, Jordan, welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
Great, great.
I'm excited to be here.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you for making the time. Let's start with your introduction, sir. Could you please tell us about yourself, your background, and how did you get into the crypto space?
Oh man, okay. How long do you have?
I love it.
so, okay, so a little bit about me. Uh, I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, which is a beautiful area in the Northwest. Um, lots of trees, rains a ton, like 9 months out of the year. So you got a lot of people that are depressed all the time. So you're looking for ways to help people with that depression, and for me, um, I was just I was pretty much a normal kid for the most part, except for I was like really intrigued with trying to solve problems and trying to help people. When I was like 15, it's like the biggest question on my mind was like, what's the most important thing that I can do with my life? Like, what's the most important thing, and what's that one answer? And I studied it. I read books. I asked different mentors. I asked people in my church. I was really trying to figure it out. And this one day, I was walking home from school, and it just hit me. It was service. It was serving others. It was helping them, to not just serving them, but also showing them that they matter. And so that's kind of where the basis of my life story starts, is like, how am I going to serve the world? How am I going to help people? How am I going to leave a legacy for future generations and make a difference in the world? And so I eventually, at 17, I ended up joining the United States Marine Corps. Um, I served, so a little bit more about that. At the time, I hadn't really hit like a major growth spurt. So I was 5'4" and 110 pounds when I joined the Marines. So I looked like a child soldier. I literally did.
Sure.
And the drill instructors were like, you know, they were like, "What are you doing here?" It was a big wake up call for me. And eventually, I did hit that growth spurt. I became um, a combat engineer in the Marines. So I built stuff and I blew stuff up, and I actually really enjoyed the blowing up part of things. And so I got to go serve in Iraq. I got in 2005. I was there, Operation Iraqi Freedom 2, and I saw some I saw some horrible things when I was there. War is not glorious, and that was a big um, aha moment and realization for me. So many of us, we like glorify war, and there's nothing glorious about it. The glorious thing about it is that we have men and women every single day that are willing to put their life on the line for others. And I thought that was just one of the most beautiful ways to show your dedication to humanity and to
Indeed.
society.
Indeed. Yeah.
And so I went from that, being a Marine combat, doing the combat engineer, and then as a machine gunner also in Iraq, and I ended up actually becoming a Marine combat instructor of water survival. And then in June of 2013, I came down with a major chronic illness from my service in the Marines. And at the time, I I felt like I was on top of the world, and my whole world came crashing down. And I was on my deathbed for about 2 years. So I had this beautiful time and privilege to reflect on every choice I've made, everything I've said to anybody, all my failures, all my victories,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I got completely like my I'd always been a gamer. I always loved playing video games and getting lost in virtual worlds, and especially playing massive multiplayer online RPGs and playing with those with others and doing raids. And I played World of Warcraft. I played Lineage 2. I played like Cabal Online. All many of the popular MMORPGs. And so when I got sick, I was in excruciating pain 24/7, and my escape was to play these games. And so I started playing Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn. I was one of the first people for their the second launch of that game and that franchise. I was one of the I was like, yeah, like second or third person on the server at 3 a.m. in the morning when it launched.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I wanted, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be dedicated. I'm gonna do everything I can to um really leave my mark in this virtual world. And so I started out mining. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something that no one else wants to do, and I'm gonna be the best at it, and then I'm gonna see what I do from there. And so I started just hitting virtual rocks, hitting virtual rocks over and over and over again, 15 hours a day. And eventually I got up um, to where I was able to get the resources and the different gems and minerals in the game that no one else could get, because I had spent so much time hitting all these rocks. So I was server first, level 50 miner,
Yeah.
right? I I had those resources. I was able to start controlling the entire economy of like 115,000 people playing this game, because they needed my resources to craft the best raid gear for the
Wow.
next
Yeah.
raid
Yeah.
bosses. So I started making like spreadsheets and looking at all these different ways. I brought my entrepreneurial spirit into, you know, um, into the massive multiplayer online RPG of Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn. And this was in 13. Like, yeah, this is in 2013. Um, and I started this guild where we had about 500 of us, and we were the top of everything, like top of every class, top of every raid. It was amazing. And so I like just fell in love, with the gaming communities. And I knew that maybe there was something here. Maybe there was something that I could do that was happening for me in my chronic illness. Like, how can I create some type of solution and help others that are in my same situation through gaming? And so I started playing Lost Relics, which is a fantastic game. And um, I was playing that game, and this glowing NFT sword drops, right? And I pick it up and I'm like, wow, I got this NFT. And I check on the marketplace and this thing is selling for like $300. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I'm playing this game, I'm having so much fun, and I just got a $300 sword. I want to I want to be I want to create games like this. I want to be the guy that creates that magic. And then I want to find a way that how can we bridge this with my ideas of helping fund like these amazing causes, that we all believe in. And so that's really what got me tied into looking at crypto and the blockchain, is like, how can I fund nonprofits with this? How can I help people with this? But then I found Polygon, and I found this really cool new ecosystem that was being built. And I saw this DeFi farm called Polycat, and I looked at the assets that were on there, and I saw this coin that said Polydoge. And I was like, wait a sec, Polydoge? Like, this is the Dogecoin of Polygon? Like, I need to get in on this because this could be the Dogecoin, like the future Dogecoin, right? Like, I invested only like $200 and I made thousands and thousands of dollars. What could I do with something that I get in before it absolutely blew up?
You did touch on Polydoge a bit already, Jordan, but take us a little bit further down the lane as to what does Polydoge do, and why did you become a part of the team?
Because of running companies, and then also um, just like my non-profit background and everything like that. Um, I just, as an investor of Polydoge, I started helping the team in marketing. You know, not I mean, I was just like, hey, I want to help you guys. Like, let's help, take Polydoge to the moon. And so it wasn't it wasn't too short. I think it was like even maybe 2 or 3 days after I had been a part of the community, and I was a very big part of the community. I'm like, hey guys, let's do this, and everything, and pushing on Twitter and pushing on different social media, and kind of helping with like different marketing campaigns, getting people involved, and I even had like professional athletes um, through some of my network. But the team reached out to me and they said, hey, we would love for you to be a part of the team. So they gave me a shot. They gave me an opportunity to be a part of like the building of crypto. And I was just like, wow, this is everything that I've dreamed of. Like this is what I desired. I thought it would maybe happen like a year later after I'd really learned like everything. But yeah, so I jump into Polydoge. I start helping with more marketing, getting partnerships, and helping with like trying to figure out, okay, how can we be different? How can we be like the Dogecoin 3.0? Um, and so we looked at NFTs, we looked at like gaming, um, because of course I wanted to make a blockchain game, so it just made sense that I would translate
Yeah.
that over to Polydoge, right? As a part of my goals and dreams and aspirations. And so yeah, so I joined the team, and I kind of just worked my way up with the team, and eventually became one of the heads of Polydoge. Yeah.
Besides the monetary aspect of Polydoge, outside of that, from the utility perspective, what does sort of Polydoge uh, provide into the crypto space? Can you perhaps talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the best parts about Polydoge is that we're an entire ecosystem. We're an ecosystem of providing value through NFTs, providing value through our play to earn games, and we'll be talking a little bit more about one of the major ones that's coming up, and that I'm the one of the main architects of. And then we have DeFi, so we have all these different ways that we can tie back into Polydoge as a value for our holders. What we're doing right now is we are bringing in different projects. We're bringing in different teams. Like you might have seen the Metacosmics team that has joined in and kind of, merged with Polydoge, and they have a 3D TCG that's coming out. So when we offer our community that we built over almost the last year, and we offer our marketing support, because I'll be honest with you, it is a hard market right now to market new products in crypto. It is difficult. And so because we're advocates for helping to make this space better and to bring on projects that we believe have what it takes, we say, hey, we can provide that. We can provide the community. We can provide the marketing, and then just give us a small percentage of the profits or the sales that can go back into the value for the holders of Polydoge. That can go into buybacks, burns, and also extra utilities. So we can use Polydoge for different games. Like we're already talking to other games right now to have Polydoge be their main gameplay token. Or um, when we're looking at like merchandise, so like buying different merchandise with Polydoge, or even buying non-endemic branded, um, like commodities, or even like potentially partnering with like different restaurants where you can pay with Polydoge. So we're looking at every type of way that we can add utility to Polydoge as much as possible. And we did reach 110 million market cap in November, but our goal as a team is to hit $1 billion market cap this year.
So, in essence, creating an economy around Polydoge being the base currency, so to speak. And when the different projects around it start to become successful and possibly getting in income streams, Polydoge will be the direct beneficiary of their success.
Exactly. So right now, today, in fact, we launched our Tomb Fork. So we have the Polydoge Tomb Fork that just launched today, and we are sitting at about 2.3 million TVL. Why is that important? Why is it important that we have a Tomb Fork, that we have this stable coin and this DeFi? It's because as we grow in value, we will use that treasury to help to grow the value and the different value propositions that we can offer to the Polydoge ecosystem. So the more value that grows, the more buybacks that we can do with Polydoge, the more burns of Polydoge for deflationary effects, and then the more that we can add different utilities within our ecosystem. So when we're looking at like Metapetz, for instance, maybe the Metapetz will have special APRs. As you stake a Metapetz on the Tomb Fork, you'll get better APRs because of using that. Or maybe there's a way that you even stake the NFTs and you earn Polydoge dollar at the same time. So we're looking at every way we can compound the amplification of the valuation of the entire ecosystem.
And you mentioned Metapets already. So that's a great segue. Can you give us an overview of this Metapets project that is associated with Polydoge, please?
Metapets is the next generation of digital pets ownership. So think about like back in the day when you had a Tamagotchi and you could play with it and it would interact with you and it would respond, to your care and your nurture. So we're taking that up to the next step or the next level, um, way beyond that, to where these metapets that are NFTs, they are 3D, that are built on Unreal Engine 5, that live on the Network Metaverse, which is this premier metaverse that's being built out for all kinds of experiences in virtual worlds. That they can respond to every interaction that you do in the metaverse and also in AR. So we're bridging it. We're bridging it from this is the thing that we've been thinking about. Is like, okay, how do we create something where everything we do in the metaverse affects the real world, and then everything we do in the real world affects the metaverse? So we're making this bridge for our play to earn ecosystem that we're calling Connect to Earn. So by connecting the metaverse to reality, you are able to earn rewards. And those rewards come in the form of NFTs, they come in the form of whitelists, they come in the form of physical items, They come in the form of maybe coupons. I mean, there's so many different ways that we can put reward systems into this. But Metapets is an entire ecosystem. It's an entire ecosystem. It's an entire multiverse of experiences that are tying into different storylines. And then the Metapets, the Metapets that you use that are like lifelike, real companionship, like having a real pet, but digitally, they help to drive forward the entire ecosystem at the same time. And it's man, like how do I say this? We we want it to we want it to make it so that your meta pets can increase your quality of life, not just be some type of fun gameplay asset. There's a big problem right now in play to earn games, and that's that players will come in, it's exciting, awesome, we have this new game, look at all this experience, and then they earn all these different rewards, and they basically dry up the rewards and then go to the next thing. We want to have a community, we want to have a game that creates moments with meaning, that matters. When you do an interaction, it's an interaction that matters. It makes a difference. It makes a difference in your life. It can make a difference in someone else's life. So these meta pets, we're looking at all these other innovations of technology, like AI. Like, how do we implement AI? How do we have AI personalities? How do we have these ever evolving pets that can grow with you and they can teach you, right? So there's
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
yeah, so this is so much more than just a game that we're creating with MetaPets.
Yeah, it sounds deep. Just like AI, as you mentioned, I'm sure it would evolve into something huge um, uh, in the near
So
future.
so I can go well, yeah, that's great, Jordan. Like I love the dream, I love the vision, like, but where do we start? Where do we start with MetaPets? We're starting with the story, we're starting with the lore, we're starting with something that we can relate to and that all of us can tie into, and that we can build something magical together. And so our story starts out in a galaxy not so far away with a race of Shiba Inus that are highly evolved called the Ibashuni. And right? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's where we start. We start with those guys. And so they come, and their backstory is that they have this particular ingredient that's on their planet, and they're running out of this particular resource. And this resource makes their favorite food. And why is it their favorite food? Because it can prolong life. It can create this euphoric state of oneness with everything around you. And it also gives you different abilities that you would not have otherwise. And so it's coveted. It's a coveted resource. And so as they're running out of this resource, they're like, okay, we need to find more of this because we can't live without this ingredient. And we call it in our story ingredient X because we're actually going to have a community contest to name that ingredient. And that's another part of what we're trying to build here is we're not just saying like come and enjoy the worlds that we create. We're saying come build the worlds that you will enjoy with us,
That's
with the
fascinating.
MetaPets,
Absolutely.
right? So with ingredient X, they end up traveling to different planets. They find deposits of it, but guess who is there? Other different races and alien species, and you know that they love this resource too. And so these particular wars break out, and I mean, it gets ugly. And eventually they do get enough of the resource, but they need to find more. And so they start traveling to other planets that, other, and then they start traveling to other galaxies. Well, they find our galaxy, and guess what? There's massive deposits in our galaxy, and especially on Earth, or network, which is, the metaverse that we're going to be a part of. And so the Ibishunis, they send recon units, down undetected, and they're looking at the deposits, and they're like, oh man, like these deposits, they're 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 kind of like under the control of these avatars and creatures and humans that are here on this on this planet. And so they consult one of their oracles, and the oracles will come into play later on in the story. But one of their oracles, and the oracles like take some of the DNA of this planet and see about creating these companions that can help to earn the trust of this populace, and then be able to get access to this ingredient so that we can use it, right? And so that's where the Metapets are born. They're mixed. They're the DNA of the planet mixed with the Ibishuni's DNA, and then created these pets and companions for these avatars. So it's
Man,
just really
makes
really fun, really fun.
makes me want to play this game right now.
I know,
Is
right?
it available right now,
It's not
Jordan?
available
I
yet.
know,
No,
I know it's
not
not.
yet.
I love it though. I love the
Yeah.
backdrop. I love the story. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. So, on a high level, so when you're looking at Polydoge and Metapets, like what excites you the most with respect to the roadmap? Like, say, in the next 6 months to a year.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, what excites me the most about the roadmap? Well, what does excite me the most, I would say, above everything else, is seeing the interactions with our metapets, with our users and our players. I can't wait to hear or see the stories that come out where people say, you know what, guys, I was close to maybe committing suicide, but because of my interactions with these metapets and how these metapets are so supportive to me in my life, and they show me that I matter, um, I see life in a different light. That's what excites me the most. We have two scientists that are on the team. We have a cognitive scientist and we have a neuroscientist that focus and have done much research on gamification, UI, different ways that the psychology is affected through gaming. And so we're using their expertise and helping to create UI and UX that can evoke the right emotions and help you to have an experience that is uplifting while playing our games. And also, they're doing an entire scientific research and journal on this whole entire project so that we can do um, we can get like scientific funding from the scientific community off of this project, because this project is so much more than just a game. It's an experiment in empowerment of humanity in the metaverse, but cleverly done with pets and companions.
It's beginning to sound meaningful. The more you say and talk about it, at first in the beginning when you were saying, it's just an NFT play. It's just a play to earn play. But now as you talk, I think um, it's becoming much more than that. Let's just call it that.
We want to go deeper. We want to go deeper, and if you already can't tell, I'm a very deep person myself. So being on the surface level, I can't stay there for too long. I've got to go down under the iceberg and get to the level where we're on a metaphysical level, where we're on a level of thinking about how can we affect the mind, body, and spirit connections? Like how can we do that with our games? That's the level that we want to go. That's the level. And that's the level that we believe will keep people engaged and keep people playing our games because they are meaningful, because they are impactful. But imagine a game where it's super fun and engaging, but at the same time, it's increasing your capacity to be a better human, to be a better person. And then that is a ripple effect to everyone else around you.
Jordan, how many team members are there working on this project? Polydoge plus Metapetz.
So we do have a pretty big team and an amazing team, by the way. It's just such a blessing that we have some guys on our team that I mean we have a guy on our team that has helped like create unicorns, like Fortune 500 companies, and done billions of dollars in value. And so we got a guy like that on our team. We got guys that worked in like feature films and Hollywood and AAA games and ship AAA games that even you and I know and love. We've so on the Metapets team we have about 24 people that are like on the core team, and then we have supportive staff that's helping to support them as well. And then when it comes to like the Polydoge team, we have about 20 people there. We do have some people that are bouncing back and forth between Metapets and Polydoge because Metapets is a Polydoge project. So yeah, I mean we have the capacity to do what we want to do. There's a few people that we'll be adding to the team that we need for the roadmap. Like on the roadmap, if you look at it, we have an animated series that we want to do. And we want to do it family friendly, fun, engaging. But this is one of the coolest parts. We want the community to be involved in building out those episodes, and that you can actually have your assets in those episodes.
That's great. 24 core people in Metapets alone. That's exciting. I mean, so
Yeah.
clearly there's some uh, a lot of brain power dedicated towards these two projects. It's amazing. Now, I realized, and actually I just realized 2 days ago that uh, Polydoge has a fully functional DAO already in place. Uh,
Yes.
so
Mhm.
is that how you guys make decisions as to what features, what functions, what's the priority, how the funding should happen for which project? Do you guys use DAOs to
Yes.
make those
Yes.
decisions?
Yes. Yes. So that definitely is the mechanism. And
Okay.
yeah, so we use that for the macro level. And then when it comes to the micro level, like for Metapets, for instance, um, we will have some governance that happens on like the Polydoge macro side, but we will have our own governance token that's within the Metapets ecosystem itself, and helping to shape that and letting the community that's a part of the core Metapets be a part of those decisions. So another thing that I want to talk about is that we want our community to be more involved in uh, like in actually developing and helping us. So we do have a core team, but we're looking for the community to join us on the journey and say, hey, like I've got the ability to help with 2D or 3D. I've got the ability to help with Unreal Engine 5. And so we're creating mechanisms where we can reward those community members that come in and help us to build as well.
And DAO could be the best tool for that. People
Yes.
can submit their proposals and perhaps get voted on. and if passed, they can get that money, that funding for it.
Yes, and if you look on our roadmap, you'll see that we have a game show that we are really pumped about. Actually, um, we want to create a game show where we have panelists. We have different panelists from different industry leaders, um, like whether that is in the gaming industry or different art disciplines. And then we're gonna do an NFT creation game show where we have 2D and 3D artists from all around the world that come and compete, and they create different assets live on Twitch or on any type of live stream that we decide we're going to go with, and just have this fun place where we can see the magic of creating these NFTs, and then competition, and then these artists can win different prizes, and we have different sponsors, and then those assets that win will be put into our games. And then we can also do it for partner projects that we work with as well. And then they will get royalties off of those assets that go into our games. So they'll have indefinite royalties from that.
So I realized that we are building Metapetz on the network platform,
Yes. Yes.
and I know network migrated onto Polygon, right?
Yes.
Is that the primary reason that you guys are on Polygon, or there's some other reason that you guys chose Polygon?
That's a great question. I would say it's mixed, because we have established ourselves as the number one community coin on Polygon, as being Polydoge. So we definitely have that going for us. And we wanted to have a way that our community could buy the NFTs with Polydoge. We believe that Polygon has what it takes to be the one of the main foundational layers for the metaverse, because of the gas fees, because of the team that they're building right now. They just got $450 million in funding from different VCs, and much of that funding is going to other projects. So, I mean, we're in talks with Polygon right now ourselves. We're in talks with VCs. We're in talks with gaming guilds. We're looking at ways that we can build good amount of funding so that we have a good runway to build out all these amazing utilities and products over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Um, and that's a key thing to say, is that we're building a real business, not just you know one of your crypto degen projects or something like that, right? We're
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
we're not just saying like, okay, cool, like play with these metapets and we'll see what happens. We're putting in the rigor to create something that will stand the test of time, and that can stand the fluctuations within the market.
That's fantastic, and that's a great segue. I think before we wrap up, one final question, Jordan. Given the geopolitical tensions, the high inflation rate that everyone talks about nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
the threat to the petrodollar system that we have, like, what are your thoughts on the economy, the and the crypto markets in the short to midterm?
So I think that one thing that is clear is that regulation is coming. I I have been studying a little bit about what's happening on the regulation front, and it's good. It's good, and it's uh, not so good for those crypto projects or companies that are not putting in the contingencies or the planning necessary to stand up in and be able to defend your position and say our coin or our project is not a security. So I think that there's going to be a big wake up moment. Um, there's going to be like wailing and gnashing of teeth. That's gonna
Yeah.
happen. Where there might even be projects right now that are going to get absolutely blindsided because their project is going to be considered a threat to the SEC, right? And is going to be considered a threat to governments. Um, there is a place where we need to kind of play together. There is a place where they need to see our position. So much negotiation and kind of seeing where we can meet in the middle. Because yes, Web3 is the future, but we still do have an entire Web2 infrastructure with all kinds of bureaucracy and red tape that wants access to the capital that we are generating currently. So I think that yes, we are in, like, right now there's a bull moment that's happening, but there's definitely going to be a major pullback, and that major pullback is going to come with the regulations. And I don't know if that's coming in the 3 months or 6 months or a year, but I would encourage anyone that wants to get into the space that they start thinking about how can we future proof ourselves? How can we make it so that our token is considered a utility token or a technology instead of a security? Because that's going to be retroactive for many of the regulations that are coming down the pipe. I do believe that still this year we will have a huge bull run and an altcoin season that we haven't seen before. I think that still is on track, but we're going to have to change the way that we do business in crypto.
Absolutely. Thank you for those nuggets of wisdom. With that, Jordan, thank you so much for your time, sir. I really wish Polydoge and Metapeds much success, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. Same here. Same here. And yeah, never hesitate to reach out. And we're just, I'm just so, yeah, so blessed and honored that I get to talk to you today. And thank you to everyone that listened to to this AMA and interview. And appreciate your time, and hopefully you got something out of it, something of value. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.